Facebook.
And we are on. Hey, everybody. Hello, hello. Get this going on my page. Let's see here. Hey, y'all. Turn the volume down. Hey. Come on. Dun, dun, dun.
That ain't working.
Let me do it. Okay, I can do it this way. All right, there we go. All right, let's see who we got in here. Hey, hello to everybody tuning in. We are excited about tonight's conversation. This is going to be good stuff to me.
Yes, yeah.
I got my brother on with me. We just giving y'all some time to come on in and join the party. Getting everything set up. But hey, Vanessa, how you doing? I got my phone over here, y'all. So if you see me looking to the right, it's because I got it all propped up so I can see your comments and see my brother at the same time. So
Right.
Oh, so come on in. We're going to get started in just a second, just giving people time to come in. 1 more minute. So we're going to have fun tonight. Relationship conversations.
Yeah.
Ooh, we talk about everything, child. Yes, we do. Okay. Hello to all the people watching. Okay. Well, thank you, boo. Looking all chocolatey, girl. Don't make me blush, girl. Thank you, boo. Just got my hair colored. Thank you. Okay. All right. So it is 8 o'clock and we are going to go ahead and get started because we got a lot to talk about tonight. So for those of you tuning in, if this is your first time, my name is Siobhan Carter. I am the You Relationship Coach. And what that means is I am passionate about all things relationships, especially the relationship that you have with yourself. So on tonight's episode of Relationship Conversations, I have my brother with me.
Hey.
Ooh, so brother, introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are and a little bit about you.
Well, everybody knows me as Jamal, but if you would say my government name, I am Ernest James, affectionately known as Jamal. I am a minister of the gospel. I am a husband. I'm a father. I'm a football coach, and I think that is about it. Yeah.
Yep. And I have known Jamal for a really long time. His sister is my good girlfriend, my soul sister, my sister. So I have been around their family for years. So he is definitely like a brother to me. So Jamal reached out to me about this topic, and I thought it would be really great to talk about. And so I invite you to chime in, share your questions, share your comments so that we can have an interactive discussion. Because this is really something that we don't hear talked about a lot, especially from the perspective that we're going to come from tonight. So it's not going to be how you think it is, but we're going to have a real transparent, practical, honest conversation about this topic. So tonight, what we're talking about is why is the divorce rate so high in the church?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So before we even get into answering that question, Jamal came to me with the question and thought it would be a great idea for us to talk about it. So tell us where that even came from. Like, what even made you want to talk about this topic?
To be perfectly honest, I've seen a lot of failure in a lot of marriages, and it doesn't uh, produce faith in marriage. So, I've seen divorce after divorce after divorce, and my question I kept, raising was, you know, if God can do, all of this, why can't He
Yeah.
within, a marriage? What is the problem? Why, if we are proclaiming to people that God is this great God who can do signs and wonders, He can do this, He can do that. Yeah. Why can't He help me get along with my wife? Why can't He help me get along with my husband? So,
Yeah.
what's the problem? So I just been it's something I've been thinking about, for a long time. Something I had to come to grips with, some things I had to, work on. I had to do my own work on my own self in order that I would not become a statistic myself. So.
Yeah. And I'm glad that we have two perspectives on tonight, because I am, a divorcee and you are currently in a marriage, and you're journeying through, and it's been, how long? Y'all been married a long time.
It'll be 12 years on July 7th.
Hey, y'all better go ahead. 12 years. Woo! Jesus.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I'm thankful that we're having this conversation from both of those sides, because I remember when I got married, I saw all of these things, and I felt that God was just ordering my steps, and I just really made that thing into what I wanted it to be spiritually. And I wasn't really looking at the emotional state I was in, but I spiritualized that thing, and I said, God has sent me him, and just, all of those things. So let's talk about that. Let's just talk about the question point blank. Why do you believe the divorce rate is so high in the church?
I believe the biggest reason is that, for one, we're unwilling to do the work that it calls for.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is, we hear it all the time. Woo, marriage is work.
Yeah.
But what does that really mean? And I think it's impossible, sis, to work on something if you don't have the tools to work on it. So, in essence, if you're building a home, it's impossible for you to build a home with your significant spouse if you don't have the tools and the materials to build the home with. So, I had to humble myself and realize I thought I knew what it meant to be a husband. I thought I knew what it meant to be married, and come to find out, I knew what other people did, but I really didn't understand what God said. Even in a vow, I didn't get it. And so, you're talking about so number of years. You keep struggling over this, and you're struggling over this. Like, God, you got to fix it. And I'm saying, then God ain't doing nothing.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I'm praying. God, why ain't you doing nothing?
Yeah.
And I was standing by my pastor, and she said it to me 5 times. It took 5 times to get it. She said, some things won't change in your house until you open your mouth.
Wow.
Man. And I said, okay. And she said, okay, brother. And she said, and I didn't get it until saying, so, I got to do some work. That's something that
I have to
do.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, so where does God come in at? Then that's when I had to go back to the very foundation, and I discovered that my foundation was built upon the same.
Was built upon what? Say that again.
So it was so unstable.
Okay.
So,
Oh, the sand. Okay, gotcha.
yeah, my foundation was built on what I seen my aunts do, what I seen my mother do, what I seen this, and it wasn't on. This is what God said marriage is supposed to be, and until I really got it, not here, when I got here,
Yeah, and
when things start to change.
And let me pause you right there, because I think that's a key nugget that we really need to lift up, is when we look at our environment, when we look at what we grew up around, when we look at those people in our lives, a lot of us don't have models of what a healthy marriage or relationship looks like. So that's one, we don't have really a point of reference, because it's like you can look at the scriptures and it says this, but if you don't have anything that makes sense for you, okay, well, how do you live that out? What does that look like from the day to day? And you don't have anybody that you can talk to, then it creates this disconnect. Then you come up with all these thoughts and these images and this fantasy, or then you take from movies and TV and just what other people are saying, and you formulate all these thoughts in your mind, and then that's when you come up with what you think, it should be.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so when I mean foundation, like I really had to. So let me say it like this. So I have a dream. So me and my wife are in the dream, and we're fighting, not each other. We're fighting spiritually, and I'm losing. And since when I mean I was losing to the point to where in my dream I actually felt the wounds that was hitting my legs and that was hitting my arms, and I felt it, and I got real agitated because I hate losing. Yeah, like I'm a sore loser. I hate losing. I hate losing. So I'm saying, God, why am I losing? And people say, God answers you in different ways. When I say God plainly said to me, in order for you to accomplish your divine purpose, you have to understand that you and your wife are one. Not in the sense that, it's 2 equals 1, that your purpose will not be accomplished without her. So if you try to go somewhere, you can't go without her. And so my thing is, so how do I fix, what's broken? Right. And, I had to go back to square one. I had to go back to square one. And I had to build my foundation. Yeah. And so I had to go there. Yeah. So that's where my work began. And a lot of times, whether it be in any kind of, relationship, we can focus so much on the other person that we're not focusing on us. Yeah. So I really had to learn that if I do the work on myself, that's when God steps in. God take care of everything else. Take care of you. Yeah. I mean, you got to really be humble enough to say, I'm really going to work on me. And let me pause you right there, because that is so key. And when I tell you that is so key, because like you said, it's a humbling thing to take the blame and take your finger that you're pointing at somebody else and turn it back on ourselves and say, you know what? Because it's when our pride kicks in. It's like, no, but they were wrong, and they did this, and you feel so good, and you feel so I don't know, you just feel this excitement of being able to put it back on them, and then you feel like you are, right in what you're doing. But it's like, man, what did I do to contribute to this disagreement or this argument, or, to how they may be feeling? Not to say that you're taking on all the blame, but it's like, I have a part to play in this. So I wonder, what is my mindset? What did I say? What am I doing that's adding to the distance or the disconnect or whatever may be happening in the relationship? And that in and of itself takes work, because you have to look inward.
And that takes energy, you know, because it's so much easier to look outward and tell everybody else what they need to be doing. But looking inward, it's like, okay, because then I got to face the truth about what I'm looking at.
What am I bringing to the table?
What I'm bringing to the table. Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of people say, well, I don't, you know, I'm not in church.
Yeah.
These principles work whether you're in church or out of church.
Yeah.
So when I say, I start at the beginning. So it says, when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing and obtains favor in the Lord. You know, I would quote that all the time. Oh, I found a wife. Well, I mean, I ain't have a clue what it really meant. And I had to go back. And literally, when you study it, it means when you find her, which means when you get to know her. When you study her way, her path, her purpose, which means when you develop a friendship.
What you say? Come on now. Come on.
And so I'm saying,
how to make it plain here, because a lot of people quote that scripture and not even realizing what that really means.
I'm saying, you know, how can you say she your wife and she ain't even your friend? And so many times, and from listening to, you know, from you to my sister, so many times, even I asked my staff a question last night, and everything started coming together. Is so many times, sis, we jump right into relationship without having friendship. And so you're trying to develop a lifelong commitment.
Yeah.
You don't even know me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you know, what's my favorite color? What's my favorite cereal?
Yep.
What kind of toothpaste do I like? You know?
Yeah.
If it's cold, what do I like to put on? Do I like the cold?
Yeah.
Do I like to be hot?
Yeah.
Well, we don't know. And I was sitting there meditating, you know, right before we got on, I said, we a lot of times, we as people in general, we jump into marriage based on infatuation. I'm infatuated with people.
Yep.
Like, ooh, like, oh, I'm so excited. And anybody who got any like salt in the game, who'd have been in this a long time, know, you know, after a while, you be like this. You know, and what happened to you when, you know, I had stars in my eyes, and then you hear, I ain't know this about you, or I ain't know you did that, and so I had to go back.
Yeah.
You know, I had to go back and like, okay, and I said, well, no, she ain't my. So I'm not losing. So I gotta learn her.
Yeah.
I gotta learn my wife because I don't know her.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Before you even go on, so I wanna address what Gary just said. He said that's one of the reasons he's divorced. He realized he didn't marry his best friend.
Absolutely.
And then another thing that you said was, you know, we have this infatuation, and we're so focused on, what came to mind is we're so focused on, I want God to send me a husband. I want God to send me a wife, instead of developing relationship. Like you don't just meet somebody and it's like, boom, that's your husband. You know, some people say that they feel that, and they feel that they have heard that. And even if that is true, there is still a process that you go through. Like you don't just meet the person and it's just like, boom, you know everything. And there's no work that you have to do, no development, no, you know, communication. You know what I mean? So I think that's where the disconnect is, because we're so focused on finding a husband or finding a wife, instead of finding, you know, really communicating with someone, just finding a person. You know what I mean? Like we trying to get to the end game instead of developing and walking through the process.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like, okay, I'm not doing anything. I don't know. So I'm like, okay. So I'm here. And so it's a lot of time, and a lot of people will say, well, what about her? At no point in time am I saying that, you know, she, you know, it was all me or it was all her.
Right.
But I told my, I was talking to my pastor about, doing this, and she says, and I agree, you got to humble yourself enough to know, like, okay, what are you doing? What are you bringing to the table? Yeah. Like, I'm not God. I cannot force anybody to change anything.
Nothing, not a doggone thing.
I can't force you to do anything. Nope. But what I can do is I can humble myself and say, this is what I need. And I am a person that believes, some people don't, believe and, has households, those things, and spiritually. But I believe that in a lot of aspects, that a husband sets the temperature of his house.
Yeah.
So, and what I mean, by setting the temperature, that means if I ain't operating right, if I ain't operating in the right place, ain't nothing else gonna flow.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna be out of whack. So foundationally, I say, you know what? I have to learn my wife.
Wow.
And once I did that, I was able to move into the vows we actually took and to understand. Wow. Like, okay, I made a commitment. Do I understand the commitment I made? I don't know.
Yeah.
And in some respect, I didn't.
And that's so honest, and I appreciate you being so honest and transparent about that, because that's real talk, and it's something as simple, like you said, as just getting to know her. Like, who is she? What does she like? How does her mind operate? Like, just some simple things. So what are some things that you would say? What are some of the steps that you took to really take the time to get to know her? What helped you?
I think some of the biggest things is paying attention. And actually, sometimes I had to actually ask, well, why are you doing this? Like, why are you mad over this? Yeah. And a lot of times I was assuming, like, well, this is how I was raised, and this is how we did things. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Wow.
Okay, so why this? And a lot of times I knew things, and here it is again. Humble myself and say, you know what? I know she don't like that. And we as men, sometimes you be like, man, I ain't doing that, dog. She ain't doing what I want her to do.
Yeah.
I ain't doing it.
It's tit for tat.
I had to learn, if you know, and one of my favorite scriptures, to them who know to do good and do it not, it is saying, I know what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to do it because I'm going to have a hissy fit. Yeah, she ain't doing it, but maybe, just maybe, it's a reaction off of something I'm doing.
What you're doing. Come on now. Come on.
So I had to step back, and I'm saying, well, how does this make you feel when I did this? And some men would be saying, well, it's so simple, yet it's so complex for a man to say, well, this ain't changing with her. I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, if you humble yourself, you know what? Not ignore what she's doing, but let God do that part. And be honest.
Yeah.
I wasn't honest. I was not honest about a lot of stuff.
Wow.
What I mean by being honest is, like, when something was bothering me, I didn't say anything. So that's when I got what my pastor was saying. She kept saying, some things in your house will not change until you open your mouth.
Open your mouth. Yeah.
So I didn't say, you know what? And it was for the same reason that a lot of the guys answered the way they did earlier. Because how you going to react? But I had to learn, in order for some things to change, you got to have some hard conversations.
Absolutely. Yes, you do.
Sometimes you can't avoid confrontation. Sometimes you can't. And so, I had, like, when I began to open my mouth, things started to change. Like, I'm like, and it was like, it wasn't nothing real big. It was something simple as, I don't like that.
Wow.
Like, I don't feel the kids need to do that. Well, this is how I feel about this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, we can't do that. Something like this. No, I don't have the money to pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, I would get into issues financially because instead of being honest and saying, no, I ain't got it,
Mm-hmm.
I would rob Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the trouble because, boy, you know you shouldn't have. And then, I'm doing like this, God, you got to provide. I did.
Right. You won't be on. Yeah.
Use money for something I told you not to use it for.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm.
And so those simple things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I had to learn how to use the word no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was one of the biggest things. Mm-hmm. And when I began to, okay, wow, be honest. Mm-hmm. And so simple like, well, I don't feel like going through this, and I know how she's gonna react. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't.
Sometimes you don't. Yeah.
Assuming that, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you know what I hear in that is vulnerability. Like I feel like that is the biggest thing that we are often so afraid of because it requires that humility and for us to be honest about what we're really feeling. And it's not what we're thinking because that's more head. I'm talking about what's in our heart. What are we feeling? You know, when that happened, it made me feel this way. You know, that takes a lot of humbling and honesty. And there's fear attached to it because we don't want people to know, because it's like, if I reveal this about myself, then what are you going to do with that, with that honesty or with my emotions? So, but I think vulnerability is so important because it breeds connection. Like then you can connect heart to heart because like I'm opening my heart up to you, and I'm sharing. And so it gives you an opportunity to open up. You know what I mean? So
this is a natural like flow because what you said led me into the next step. Mm-hmm. My journey, learning, and I say that learning how to love my wife as Christ loved the church.
Come on now, come on.
I had to learn, and so I'm reading that, and so, but I'll be very honest. Mm-hmm. Until I start, studying things, I never knew that when, say your vows, you would love your wife and cherish her. Mm-hmm. I ain't know it was in the Bible.
Wow.
I thought it was just, and so I'm studying and I said, oh, I don't think I'm doing that. So I was sitting down and I'm looking at that and I had to think about all the ways that Christ loved the church. In retrospect is God created man to take some things. And I said, look at all the things that Jesus Christ took because he loved us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so here it is. So if I love you like Christ loved the church, I can't be easily offended.
You say you can't be easily offended?
Offended, yeah. I have to be able to forgive you. I have to be able to do that. I have to be able to be willing to sacrifice no matter what. I have to be able to do that. I have to be able to, no matter what time it is, no matter what's going on, to be there for you. I have to make you a priority. You have to be my priority.
Yeah.
I have to understand you. I have to be in tune with you. I have to be one with you.
Yeah.
And I'm so that snippet, I had to stay there for a while. I'm like, okay, I get, some things you do, I get, I'm allowed to be mad.
Yeah, yeah.
I have the right to be mad. And so one day I was sitting in church and somebody just said something and God said to me, look how many things you do and I forgive you. He said, why can't people forgive their spouses? Even though, it hurts my feelings when you do things. when I ask you to do something, Jamal, and you don't do it, I don't throw you away.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
when you mess up, I give you another chance.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to go back and say, man, am I loving my wife as Christ loved the church?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm like, okay. Oh, no, no.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
something simple as, am I listening to you? Am I listening to you? It's like the scriptures, one of my favorite scriptures, God's ear is in tune into our earnest cry. Is my ear in tune to you?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Am I hearing your heart?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ hears mine. No, dog, I ain't even doing that.
But you know what? Let me pause you right there, because it sounds like the work that you've been doing, because we are emotional. Women are emotional. So it's like when we feel misunderstood, when we don't feel heard, when we don't feel valued, when we don't feel like we're a priority, we start to shut down, and it causes us to disconnect. You know what I mean? So it's like, I appreciate the work that you're doing, because it sounds like it's helping to soften or to open you up emotionally, so that she can in turn, see that you're doing the work, and then open up emotionally. Because for us, if we don't feel, that emotional connection, then we are, nope, I'm not safe. We feel unsafe. And for many of us, it's about security, not just financial security, but emotional security. We want to know that we're safe, with who we're with.
I had to learn. Like you hit some key words.
Mm-hmm.
Like, emotional.
Yeah.
And she would always say, I need you to make me, I need to feel secure.
Yes.
And, I'm like, I ain't your daddy.
That ain't my job. Okay, well, listen.
So then I'm like, and you keep hearing it. Okay, Jamal, back to the drawing board.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to help, okay, what do you mean by being secure?
Yeah.
And so it was, okay, am I being, the husband? So I had to unlearn some things.
Yeah.
Learn some things.
Mm-hmm.
You see some stuff out of your parents' marriage, and you, in your mind, you start building the foundation because, okay, that looked good,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of, I had to be vulnerable enough to communicate.
Wow.
I had to be man enough.
Come on. Yeah.
I had to be man enough, like, okay, this is what's going on with the money.
Mm-hmm.
So I need you to do this. So, like, and like you said, it's an automatic. It's an instantaneous response.
Yes.
From your wife and so when you, and then you got to develop trust. I don't care what nobody says.
Yeah.
That ain't something that you walk into a relationship.
Nope.
So I had to earn her trust.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some men be like, I ain't doing all that.
I'm telling you, you on to something, brother.
you want her to love you?
Yeah.
I'll open up. You ain't never felt and experienced love from a woman until she trusts you.
Come on. You better say it. Come on.
You got to trust me enough when I say, okay, this is going on. I got this taken care of. Mm-hmm. And you got to be honest enough to say, well, I've did some things that have kind of fractured our trust.
Yeah.
And so you have to build that. And if you don't do it, like, that'll make, let me explain like this. I'll explain like this. Because everybody, a lot of people, so, you had Adam and Eve in the garden, right? Mm-hmm. They're in the garden. So God gives Adam instruction. Mm-hmm. He gives Eve instruction. Mm-hmm. He gives Adam instruction. Do this to the garden, do this, do that. And so, Here's a story. You know, the serpent comes along and starts talking to Eve. It's a lot of people miss the fact that Adam was there when the serpent was talking to his wife.
Right there. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And the issue is he talking, but she got the promise secondhand from Adam, but Adam knew for himself.
Yeah.
So if a joker's standing there telling your wife something wrong, why ain't you saying nothing?
Why ain't you saying nothing? Open your mouth. Yes.
So the issue becomes this. When trust and security is not developed the way it should, you get the same thing. Eve then stepped into Adam's place. Why? Because he wasn't opening his mouth. It says, God said, subdue. And one of the definitions of subdue is to quiet. So if you know he's saying something, and he's supposed to be saying, tell him to shut up. Shut up. Why you talking to my wife like that?
Yeah.
Because, and then immediately, what happens? Things happen. First thing he said, which you hear out of all men, she did it.
It was her. Yeah. It was her fault.
You hear stuff like this. Why you trying to be the man? Why don't you be the man?
Yeah.
God, but when I let you be the man, you ain't say nothing.
Right. And then that's when you see the roles start to reverse, where the woman is taking on, you know, all the control and leading and all this kind of stuff. And then the man just sitting back kind of chilling, you know. So
but here's the thing, sis. He ain't chilling. What's going on in his mind? You know what he's saying? Why she doing all that? And then our response is quiet.
Wow.
And you like, well, babe, why you ain't saying nothing? You okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Well, why you got that in your voice? Something you want to talk about? No. And so you'll see mannish responses. Like, what's wrong with you? Did I do something? No. Why you keep asking me that?
Because you can tell by the response that there is something going on. Yeah. So let's go over to some of the comments of what we're saying over here. So speaking, when you were talking about friendship earlier, Vanessa was saying friendship is definitely vital. In hard times, just remembering your friendship and the principles behind friendship can help you realize who this person is and was to you as friend and not as wife or husband. But we know what it is to be friends. So it's just talking about developing the foundation of friendship. And then Gary said, we as men always trying to solve instead of listening and learning her. Wow. Yeah. That takes a lot, because in your nature, you know, you're fixers, you are problem solvers. That's what you do. So it takes a lot to, I guess, to take a step back to say, okay, let me listen and make sure I'm understanding what she's saying.
And so, you finished? I'm sorry.
Let me see. So Vanessa says she has a question for the gentleman, and guys, you can chime in on this as well. How long were you in your marriage before you learned to express yourself and be vulnerable?
It was some years.
Some years, yeah.
I'll tell you why.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why is that such a challenge for men?
I'll tell you why. Because I was thinking about this song all day. You know, Eric, I do the song Bag Lady.
Yes.
Bag Man. And I came in with so much baggage, so much, this is what marriage is supposed to be, and this is how I'm supposed to be, and this is how this is supposed to work. And in order for me to even start doing the work, I had to unload a whole lot of baggage before God could even fix me. Because my biggest thing was I could not see myself the way God saw me. To stand the place that God called me to as a husband, as a father, I had to see him the way he created me.
Wow.
So when I came in, on one end, I had all this bag. On the other end, I was a jigsaw puzzle. And God had to put me back together
Mm-hmm.
In order for me to see, in order for me to say with conviction, you know what, Jamal, you are fearfully and wonderfully made.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful are your works, God, and my soul knoweth right well. Like I know that, God, I am fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yeah.
Then I could step in and step into the place where I can communicate with my wife the way I could. But before that, it was impossible for me to communicate with the person. It's impossible for me to learn her when I don't even know who I was.
Wow.
You know, I have a clue.
Yeah.
who I was.
So it's almost like the vulnerability comes from the acknowledgement or the honesty with who you are, you know, or where you are, right? You know, in your process and being able to connect with that.
It was like before I could even say, God, you know, I did. And I say, well, God, this is the first time I'm walking past my pastor, and I said, you know what, Pastor, I've been asking God to teach me how to trust him in order to be, you know, the man I'm supposed to be. You know, he laughed at me. And he said,
you didn't have to do that, Pastor. You didn't have to laugh at him in his face like that.
he said, you sure you want that?
Mm-hmm.
He said, okay, you're going to get everything. And subsequently, in the next 7 days, I was in a car wreck that I got this scar. I lost my job. So essentially, I ain't have nothing.
Wow. So you got to trust that you don't have anything.
Strip me of everything that I personify myself with. Like when people would ask me who I was this person who did this. So everything I identified with, he stripped me of. And then God, when he stripped me down, he was able to build me. Because at that point, I thought I knew who I was. I didn't have a clue. So he literally, he taught me, okay, this is what it means to be a man.
Yeah. And it's not attached to titles or roles or all this kind of stuff. That's not where your manhood comes from.
So many times you will hear a man say, so who are you? Well, I'm this. No.
I'm a CEO. I'm a this. So yeah.
That wasn't there. Who are you without that? And I had to learn, wow, who am I?
Yeah.
If I didn't have titles, if I didn't have this, who am I?
You know what's interesting about that, and I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that's the journey that I had to go on as well, and it really helps you get to the core of who you are, because I was defining myself by my positions, by being a business owner, by being in all these ministries and all this kind of stuff, but it was defining my significance, and it wasn't who I was created to be. You know what I'm saying? So so it was like I felt this desire deep down that, okay, I need you to get out of all of these things, because you're thinking that that's who you are, and you're attaching your identity to these things, you know. And so when I started to move away from all of those things, because my motivation wasn't from a pure place, it was because I was doing it because I thought that's what defined me. You know what I'm saying? So when I took some time to just relax from all those things, then that's when I really started to see who I am, who I've been created to be. Yeah. So I appreciate you for sharing that. Yeah. Okay. And so Shireen says, I give credit to this brother for being so open and honest about forgiveness. Sometimes a man, I think she meant sometimes a man's ego holds him back from being honest about his actions. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So as we're talking about just, you know, divorce rate and why it's so high in the church, one of the things, if you're just tuning in, what we're talking about is just the simple art of relating and being able to look within yourself, you know, being able to own your stuff and acknowledge some stuff that you are doing, you're bringing to the table, and being honest about that, and being vulnerable and transparent about it, and continuing that journey of knowing who you are.
Can I, before I go in, another thing about my wife, I mention a key part. I had to fix my relationship with my dad.
Ooh.
I could not properly connect with God the Father without properly connecting with my dad.
Wow. Wow, Jamal. Wow. I just had to pause because I'm like, you don't hear men say that. You hear it from women, saying that, you got daddy issues and that kind of stuff and how we have to reconnect. But for you to say that, man.
I had daddy issues. Not so, okay, very, very quickly. I am Ernest James IV. My dad is Ernest James III. So growing up, a lot of things were attributed to me because a lot of things my dad did. So made me have to do. So, coming up, you're going to do this like your dad. You're going to be like this. You're going to be like this. You're going to be like that. So I had to unload a lot of that because it was almost to the point, sis, where I didn't even want to have that name because I was so tired of fighting that battle. And then once God started dealing with me, he said, yeah, I know your dad did this, but you know how many other fathers did the same thing your dad did? And so he started showing me, literally, like, wow, that person's dad was doing the same thing my dad. Wait a minute, his dad was doing it? Wait. And so that caused me, like, I had to forgive my dad. And when I started happening, I could see God in a totally different light, but I had to get to that place where our relationship was functional. I don't even want to say functional. Like I talk to my dad every day.
Yeah.
It's not a day go past. And here's the amazing thing. I don't talk to my mom every day. I talk to my dad every day.
Wow.
Because God understood in order for me to get to where I needed to get to, that needed to be fixed. I'm like, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Listen, okay, wait, okay, because this is okay. This is right. I can't even put my words together because this is such a powerful moment right here. Because what I'm thinking about is men that I have been friends with or talked to or whatever who have been trying to outlive or outrun the reputation of their father, if that makes sense. So it's like, let's say, back in the day, their father used to be like this or that. They're trying to live the very opposite of that.
Same thing I tried.
Like that's it's just be who you are. Like, and it's out of fear of ending up like them or whatever, or having the same reputation or all that kind of stuff. But you're still not being who you are. You know what I mean? Because you're just trying to make sure you're not being this way, but you're not being yourself. You know what I'm saying?
And the person that helped, my mother helped me.
Wow.
And so my mother said, I need you to understand something. Everything about your dad ain't bad.
Yeah.
And I said, what do you mean? She said, because you are a compositional makeup of me and your father.
Yeah.
So because if everything about your dad was bad, consequently, you would be bad too. She said, everybody got some quirks and idiosyncrasies and this and that about them. She said, that stuff, go ahead and throw away. But those things that you see about your dad, that's great, embrace it.
Yeah.
Embrace it. Because why? He's your father.
Yeah.
And it's coming from a woman who went through purity hell with my dad, but they are fantastic friends right now.
Yeah. And your dad and I know your dad, he's a great man. You know what I mean? Like we all had our stuff that we had to deal with as we're coming into who we are. Like we all have stuff,
And my mom telling me that I had to sit down, I'm like, and I really had to look at myself, and I said, I get that from my dad.
Yeah.
My mom didn't do that. My dad, I got this from, and then I was able to nourish that in my sons. Seeing the same positive things in so Daddy, where you get that from?
Yeah.
Well, I got that from Pap. So, I do this like Pap.
Yeah, man.
Teaching them that everything ain't bad. And once I did that, things opened up even more. It was really a blessing.
Because it takes the pressure off because you're not trying to outrun something. You know what I'm saying? Or live so much in the total opposite. Like he was like this, I'm not gonna be like that. He was like this, I'm not gonna be like that. And it's just that's so much energy that you're putting into not trying to be something. when it's just shifting the perspective. Just see them for who they are. See the things that are great and the things that are not so great, but the totality of them instead of just seeing all the terrible things. You know, we wouldn't want anybody to look at us like that. We wouldn't want our kids to just see the terrible things. You know what I mean? So it's like seeing them as individuals that had their imperfections, but they have some amazing things about them as well. And I just hear, like you said, it made a world of a difference. There was so much healing in that, you know?
Yeah.
Man, so much healing in that.
Now I can call my dad and I'll be like, you know what, Dad, this was going on. And my dad, he has been the biggest catalyst for me getting to my marriage where it is now.
Come on.
Because my dad was able, like, nah, son, you wrong.
Wow.
And because I healed that relationship, I was able to receive wise counsel from my dad. My dad be like, no, that ain't a good idea.
Yeah.
I tell you what you do. One time he said, and I was just, like, Tina, it was something going on. I said, I don't even know what's wrong. I'm just so frustrated. He said, go in the house and just hug her.
Wow.
He said, this is going to be okay. Just hug. Maybe she's really she just and over here and over here. He said, just hug her. She said, she ain't going to like it. Of course, he said, but you're stronger than her, so you hold on until.
So she just kind of calms down. Yeah.
So you hold on until it breaks.
Wow.
Wow. And Siobhan, that conversation we had that day. And I'm like, wow. Mm-hmm. All this was stored up in my dad. And if I wouldn't have did the work, I would have missed it.
Come on, Jamal. You are blessing my soul today. You hear me? Come on.
Would have missed it.
Let me share what Vanessa said. She said, wow, I was doing the exact same thing when it came to my mom. So she said, I was trying so hard to be the opposite, that I didn't make decisions based off the good of me, but the reputation I was trying to undo. Come on, Vanessa. Man.
Here it is.
Good.
My dad was the first person that, that told me. He said, you know what, son? You're gonna preach the word of God one day. Wow. And I fought so hard, I fought it. Because I ain't be like him. I'm going to do the opposite. And then I'm like, well, I should have just listened. Oh, okay. It's your life, Jamal. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like it's in your bloodline. You know what I'm saying? It's a part. You can't run from your bloodline. Like it's in you, you know? Yeah.
Once that happened, Siobhan, I was able, the word says, you are to nourish, cherish your wife. Mm-hmm. And so, you hear it in vows, but you say cherish is cherish. So I had to go back and I had to really study, nourish. And God gives husbands the ability to create an atmosphere to promote growth which means to nourish. Yeah. That you can create an atmosphere, and then on the flip side, you can't create an atmosphere when you're hindering growth.
You can't create an atmosphere when you're hindering growth. Talk about what hindering looks like when you're hindering growth. What does that look like?
I'll give you an example. To know my wife is to know my wife is involved in a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of stuff. She's president of the school board. She helps with the cheerleaders. She does this. She does this. She does that. So my wife hands in everything, but that's what God created her. If I was not fully aware of what my wife was called to do, what I'm hindering is, why you ain't never at home? Well, I need you here to do this. Well, I need you to do this. But I was fully aware. I'll say it like this. When I honestly knew what my wife was called to do before I knew I was. When I was settled, that was one of the first things, spiritually, God settled in me, and I couldn't figure out why. Then I figured out real quick because people are, why you letting your wife do this? Why you don't ever tell your wife be home? Why she always this? Your wife run around too much. your wife doing this. I know exactly what my wife do.
Mm-hmm.
I know exactly when my wife is moving.
Yeah.
I got GPS, spiritual GPS. I know what's going on when you think I don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the particular anointing that my wife has,
Yeah.
but the thing is, if I would step in and hinder that, it's going to debilitate growth even in my children.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to facilitate growth, and you have to, when it says nourish, the illustration it gives is watering the plant.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to make sure you giving it the right food, watering at the right time, making sure it got sun when it's supposed to. So there are particular things that God empowers us as husband and as husband to do.
Mm-hmm.
So to help your wife. Basically, when she get with you, she ought to get better, not worse.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's point blank in the period. Yeah.
And like cherish, yes, love her, but to create an atmosphere where you're cultivating encouragement, where she should never feel like I'm less than. Like, for instance, I think about you and my sister Neff.
Yeah.
Real women.
Mm-hmm.
If the men you're with are not comfortable with what you are called to do, that's going to be an issue.
That's going to be a problem. That ain't going to work. Mm-hmm.
Part of who you are.
Yeah.
So if you be like, well, for example, it's this Wednesday. Well, I do this on Wednesday, and then y'all going, well, wow, I want to go do this on a Wednesday. Well, sweetie, I do. Well, I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
No. Then you're not nourishing.
Yeah.
You're not cherishing. You ain't doing what you supposed to do. And what it helped me to do is like, hey, I got the ability to do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Something simple as this. Like the other day, my football, coach football season was long.
Mm-hmm.
We started in July. Our last game was December 8th.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long time. So right after football season, my wife said, well, I want to do this, and I just need to get away.
Mm-hmm.
So person she is supposed to go away with gets sick. So I come home and I said, well, you know what, I'm going to leave. So I took the kids for the whole weekend. Where y'all going? We're just going to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
So you do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know, like, you need a break. And I literally tell my kids, where mommy going? She need a break.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And facilitating growth, making sure that everything that she was created to do, that you're not only nurturing it, you're making things better.
Yeah. And you know what? And this time has gone by so fast. It's 8:55 already. So, but I want to ask this question. So, as you're talking about the steps that you have taken, right? The work that you're doing. What about somebody who may be watching that's like, man, okay, so you doing all of this. Like, what about her? What is she doing? You know what I mean? Like, what about those people who are still focused on, okay, well, I'm not going to do all this work if the other person is not, you know what I mean? Like, what do you say to that person?
Man, tell y'all what, I was in that way. And then every now and then over here, like, I'll be looking like, what you doing? And I had to get my life, like, my job. And when I had to rehearse that, like, hey, God, you got it. Mm-hmm. And then things start changing.
Yeah.
Not because of anything else. And part of the change was me doing my part. And simple as me, when I needed to be vulnerable, being open, communicating. And the change came in stuff like this. Well, something simple as this. Well, did you like that, what I made? Be honest. It ain't that I like it. Used a lot of pepper. And then she was like, I'm glad you told me that because I thought I used a lot of pepper. But if I ain't say nothing, the next time I did it, she would put a whole lot of pepper on it again.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Then it's building up within you. You're not saying anything, but you're feeling some type of way about it. Yeah.
So, we saying, Well, it ain't that simple. Man, I'm telling you. The hardest thing in some life gets solved by the simplest thing.
Yeah.
And after they give all the scriptures, husband, love your wives submit to your husband, blah, blah, and then it says, submitting yourselves one to another.
One to another. Yeah.
Not just her submitting, but submitting, and this is when a lot of other things broke. What I mean by submitting, being honest, like, you know what? I ain't good at that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay in my lane. My wife, because some things was going on. I was at a particular job, and it was in a school. My wife went to school for education. I needed some help. I had to help myself. Like, look, this is what's going on. I need your help.
Yeah.
I want to advance. So tell me how to do this. So I had to help myself. And at the same time, what I mean by submitting yourself, not only to that, but to what you know to be true. So being, submitted to the truth, like, look, I get it, but I don't agree with that. And it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what would you say to those who are watching who have gone through a divorce already? Maybe they tried to do the work and it still didn't work out. What words of encouragement do you have for them?
My word would be love again. Why do I say that? My wife was divorced.
Wow.
She had no intention of marrying me. Believe me when I say it. That was the farthest thing from her mind.
Yeah.
If I ain't know nothing else in this world, she was meant to be my wife.
Wow.
And so, yeah, love again. But I would say this. I would say that just from what I learned from you, sister, from what I learned from my sister, it is important, make it your business to heal first before you jump into something else.
Absolutely.
So, and it dawned on me that, and it's going to sound so crazy, I had to heal from my first relationship with my wife in order to be married to her.
Wow, because because you were in a relationship before.
And some things went down and I was feeling some type of way.
Wow.
To be married to her, I had to heal from that.
From what you went to when you were in a relationship prior to that.
Yeah. I didn't. We wouldn't be here going into 12 years. It's been done a long time ago.
Wow. That's this is so we could go on and on because there's so many things, and we may have to do a part 2 of this because I feel like there's still some more that you could share. But I really appreciate the nuggets that you deposited into us tonight, and just you sharing from your heart and your truth, your story and your journey and the fruit that you're seeing from it. You know what I mean? Like, you're seeing the fruit of you taking that step back and doing the work. And you're like, God, okay, let me look at me, show me who I am, and show me, how I need to be different so that I can set the tone and change the climate of my home, because I believe that makes a world of difference. And people think, that if you just change yourself, that won't make an impact. But I guarantee, I'm a witness that definitely helps, not on just the man's side, but on the woman's side too. So even if you tried it and it didn't work in your marriage, or maybe you didn't try all of this that we're talking about in your marriage, like my brother said, love again, go do the work, heal from what you experienced, and just open yourself, be open to loving again, because it doesn't have to end with just, I tried it and it didn't work,
No, it does not.
Yeah. So I just appreciate you, brother, for broaching this topic and for us talking about it tonight. And like I said, we'll have to have a part 2 because I know there's so much more that you could share. So, and I appreciate you all for watching. So any last words, any last things that you want to say to leave with the people tonight?
Yeah. I would say, whether you're, in church or out of church, and you've made that commitment, vow say to death do you part, work, it's almost become like an epidemic, like cancer. Like divorce is almost like cancer.
Yeah.
I believe, there's a place if you humble yourself to one another and you're actually committed to doing the work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
God can, make, monumentous move if you allow him. Am I saying to stay in an unhealthy relationship where somebody beating on you and doing stuff?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that.
Mm-hmm.
But take the time to fight for it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's so good. Now, what's coming up for me is, are you going to do a workshop or anything around this where you can go to different churches and talk to couples or just, singles ministries? Just, I see this as being something that, churches definitely can benefit from, to see your journey and where you have landed now at this point in your journey. Do you see yourself going to do?
It's amazing. It's amazing you say that because I want to say, was it last winter? Me and my wife did a teaching on this very same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I do.
Yeah. I think it would be a great, because it's a very honest, transparent discussion, because you're using the scriptures and you're also using your life experiences, which I think can help a lot of people. Yeah.
Because sometimes, like you said, you hear stuff, but you don't see it. So you're like, is that really real? Does it really work?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
The practical. Yeah. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And thank y'all for tuning in. I do this every Wednesday at 8:00. So tune in next week. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but it's going to be something good. So until next week, y'all have a lovely evening and love on each other and love on yourself. All right. Good night.